where it starts to get hard for Abusement Park. Asmodin. Alright guys, we are back for game number 2. And this time we're kicking things off onto Battlefield of Eternity. This was the MAC pick of American Specialists as they chose the first pick to start things off. So we're going to see the Diablo ban and the Sergeant Hammer ban. Sergeant Hammer, like I said, 100% makes sense because that is Paletta's hero of choice. So if you didn't know, once again, Paletta is a Hammer main and is an excellent Hammer main. So banning out Hammer makes a lot of sense. It's both a respect and a smart decision. So we're going to see a Urel banned out once again. No Diablo available as well. And we'll see if it's a support ban or maybe even some more choke in here with another tank ban. And it's going to be the Genji. They left it open, I'm sure specifically because they wanted the opportunity to pick Genji. And unfortunately, they will not get that choice. Now, with their first pick, who do they want to prioritize? Do they want to pick up tanks? There's people out there who believe the tank pool is too small, but they're going to put Mason Blaze once again back on that Phoenix. That man twerks that Phoenix like it's nobody's business. I mean, with 4 legs, Phoenix got to have a big old booty to twerk, right? Or does he even have a booty? Not really sure, but he's going to twerk Mason Blaze on that Phoenix once again. And the response here should be, I think, Deckard Cain. Okay, they're going to go with the priority of Murden and Hanzo. I kind of like this as well. They decided they want the race and they want to choke on the tanks because they've taken Murden. And Johanna is not as good on BOE. But that also means Deckard Cain is now available as well simultaneously. And that's exactly what they're going to pick up. I feel like it was getting greedy, the choice of picking Murden. I would have picked the Deckard with the Hanzo. Personally, I think that's the better choice because they would now have to pick, if they didn't pick a tank to go with the Deckard, well, you'd ban, let's say, Garage. Then they would ban well, they can ban whoever on the side of Abusement Park. So Greymane will be the ban. He does provide a lot of race potential, but I've said time and time again that I feel Greymane is actually a mediocre pick in lieu of a lot of the other ranged assassins, such as Phoenix. And they can easily pick up a Maiev here as well. And I think that'd be, pretty juicy. They showed that they can play a mean Maiev in their comp. So they're going to take out the Alex Straza. I like the ban here for the Alex Straza because at this point, this sort of puts him in the position of a Malfurion. Malfurion is able to dissuade Garage from coming forward unless he pops that Indomitable. And at the same time, he is, well, a pretty strong support. On the other hand, though, he won't be able to deal with the blow up of grabbing someone and tossing him back and then getting taunted unless he can land a big silence. And so that's exactly who they are going to pick, is the Malfurion and Artanis for their solo lane. So at this point, who are they going to choose? There's a whole bunch of options available. They could pick up a Thrall. They can pick up a Malthael. They can pick up a Leo. They can pick up the Blaze again. They can pick up Sonya. I mean, the world is their oyster here. And they'll pick up the Blaze once again with the Jaina. So the Jaina is going to have to be very careful with positioning because the Artanis swap into root, into stun, that's all very dangerous for her. But they do need one more damage, and this will be a Tychus. So this is hard for Tychus to survive in that Tychus needs to avoid the Warbreaker. The Groundbreaker. There's the Warbreaker talent. The Groundbreaker, and the Groundbreaker is definitely something he needs to hold the dash for, specifically to avoid getting caught in it, because Tychus has a short range. I think this comp has a lot of damage with the Tychus onto Garrosh or Blaze, but Tychus stepping up is going to eat a ton of damage from Jaina and Phoenix. So I'm concerned about Malfurion being able to heal them up like that. And you'll also notice, you'll see in game that My Mom Is Cool is actually playing Artanis this game. And First Andy is now on the support for Malfurion. So they're definitely switching things up here significantly in terms of who's playing what. Now, I'm going to give the edge to Abusement Park, especially after their performance in the first game. And I think the execution factor is much higher for American Specialists. So jumping on in, we got Chips on the Garrosh, Mason Blaze once again on that Phoenix. We got Carnival on the Decker Cane, Tracer on the Blaze, Energy on the Jaina, who will hopefully not run out of much mana, aka her energy. And finally, that will be Abusement Park. On the other side, we got Chrissy once again on the Muradin, Paletta on the Tychus, First Andy on the Malfurion, Any Problem on the Hanzo, and finally, we got My Mom Is Cool on Artanis in the top lane. And that is going to be American Specialist. So we got potions, a nice toss on in. Paletta taking a ton of damage. The root will not connect, however, not timed well enough. That's something you should actually see in the Storm Division execution. Like that should land the stun, or sorry, the root as well. And that would have been a kill onto Paletta at that point. So taking a look at what we have in terms of talents, we have pretty much normal. Chips taking a lot of damage, the return damage and the heal. And so Mason Blaze picking up the Tychus while they focus on taking down Garrosh. Very nicely done. Mason Blaze walking away from these fights, basically unhindered in doing his job. Chips holding down the fort, throwing Chrissy onto the point, but Chrissy will just leap on over to escape potential death. So at this point, we already got 2 stacks, 3 stacks, and 7 stacks. You're going to see the Shandos Clarity this game to keep them topped up in terms of mana. So Chrissy can throw out those store bolts all day long, and as can everyone else burn through abilities all day long. But between Jaina and Mason Blaze, their wave clear is not quite on point at this point. Now, until level 4 comes around, it's going to be harder for them to clear these waves, because Mason and Energy are going to just blow these up super easy. You can see, like, there's no need for Chips to even walk out of the bush except for the globe. That's literally the only time he needs to come out, or when they're trying to get a gank, which would be most of the reason why you're walking out of the bush. So at this point, they're able to go and start up their bruiser camp. They have Garrosh just sitting down here and soaking. And at this point, they are pretty much matching. As long as they don't cap this early, I think they'll be good. They will actually... Okay. Good. Okay, they're dancing around. They're dancing around. Getting me a little nervous there. My Mom Is Cool and Tracer still pretty even. We have Energy back here, waiting for the potential of Paletta to get overly aggressive, or the throw. We got this Q, but the dash will keep Chips from chasing any further, and Paletta will survive that potential gank. However, Paletta is not going to survive this one as he has been caught on out. Chrissy coming on in. A little bit of a bad rotation there. And so now the race has begun. We have a Blaze clearing up top. Bottom is going to be shoved on in. And they'll be able to play defense and just get as much value as they can out of their Shaman camp. Unfortunately, the wave isn't very big. So it will probably go down and not be as effective as they'd hope. My mom is cool, however, being focused on down in the meantime, and there goes all their race potential for American Specialists. Now, oh, Chip's looking for it, but it's going to be Chrissy who's actually tossed on back there, and he will be rooted nonetheless. First Andy in place. Chip's getting rather low. Tracer on the side. Q will not connect, but a big stun from Tracer onto two members of the Specialists. Bottom has been cleared up. Not even going to get a tower, unfortunately, due to the timing of the Bruiser camp. Top is getting cleared up, and everyone is alive once again. Chrissy in a very awkward position, and the Q will not land from the Groundbreaker, and a Paletta dishing out some damage onto Energy, but remember, Energy can win this trade, and a big old stun from Tracer going to secure the kill, and Chip's looking for it. They have found themselves not a problem because, well, he's now dead. At this point, Chip's trying his best to hold it down, but he's going to have to back on off. Not going to be able to prevent the halftime as there are too many members of Abusement Park. Another toss on back, and Paletta does have the dash, going to get out of the blizzard, but it's not going to matter because the rest of the combo will land. My mom is cool really, really low and will be going down. First, Andy being chased on down by Chips. Toss on back. There's the damage. And this is a 3-for-0. They're looking for a fourth, but they will not get it for now. They'll have to be satisfied with the 3 and the Immortal. Chips getting cheeky here. Tossing Murden back into the stun. Paletta coming on in. Dashing on into that. And we have this simple geometry in action here. So without them, oh, they might actually still lose this. Okay, that was insane. They actually did lose this. This is the problem. With any problem existing on the map, they have lots of them. Chips coming on in, trying to save the day. Paletta chunking them on down. The root is going to be good, and Mason Blaze having a field day on the back. Will be able to pour it on out, and they get themselves another kill. I think someone needs to hand Mason Blaze, you know, margarita, a tequila, something, because this guy is just chilling out because no one is even noticing him. He's basically going in like, okay, I'm going to just damage, and more damage. Beautiful job there from Chips, by the way. Coming on in, getting another kill. They're just getting kills left and right here. This is, I believe, American Specialist first outing. And, well, American Specialists are looking a little special right now with how many kills they've been taking. A nice throw on back. Chrissy will be fine as he is the dwarf. The blizzard will land. He'll make it on out. And Chips takes a chunk of damage in tow, but it's all okay. First Immortal doesn't go down. 10 is around the corner. Sorry, First Immortal does not get too much value, only taking down the one tower and the gate, and 10s are around the corner for Abusement Park. Taking a look at how things are progressing, we got 16, 7, 7, and 46 on in the rhythm. We also have Warbreaker almost completed, and Fingers of Frost about halfway completed as well. Now 10s have been picked up, and taking a look at how the damage numbers are looking so far. Mason Blaze already doubling basically everyone's damage in the game. This is what I'm talking about. These guys are basically ignoring his existence and letting him do as he pleases. Getting very aggressive because they do have that taunt available. They are going to go and take the Bruiser camp. I love this play from Abusement Park. Flex your advantage. Don't sit on your advantage. flex it. Like, you know, this is the flex zone. The taunt is available. The toss on back. Stale while and listen coming on up. But Chips is getting really low. Tossing on back. They do get the camp already. And they'll just have to be satisfied with the one bruiser camp they get. However, this is now where they need to get really aggressive. The toss on back, taunt onto Muradin. The damage, is it going to be enough? However, Purification Salvo is enough to get themselves a kill on Paletta. Chips, however, is in a world of pain as he has nowhere to go and nothing Deckard can do to save the day, but a beautiful jet propulsion will get another kill. Tracer, though, will be going down. My mom is cool looking for energy, but it's a trade for 4 for 2. And Mason Blaze, wanting a stat pad, gets a few more pot shots in. At this point, Mason Blaze is a ghost. Maybe he's a ninja. 30,000 damage at this point now. We're keeping track of that. We got 18 stacks. Simple geometry has been completed. They can now erase. However, they do have any problem back. And remember, he's Hanzo. And so Hanzo, by the way, can basically outrace a full team on his own. Especially a team not equipped to race very well. So you can see they got it down 50%. At the same speed. Any problem came back and basically single-handedly got the Immortal to 50% at the same rate that Abusement Park took 50% down themselves. And later. It's absolutely crazy. However, it hasn't been working too well for them so far, but they do have heroics available on both sides, in fact, and so they'll be able to aggress here quite nicely with that Immortal backing them up. And they have the Shaman Cam alongside of a Wave, which is going to help them significantly. So at this point, they have to back on out and make sure they do not get flanked, because Chips making a nice play there, trying to flank on the side, looking for the pick there, and realizing what was going on. American Specialist will just back on out. So they're looking for the XP. They have My Mom is Cool up there, pressuring as hard as they can, but this makes it even easier to come and fight. Oh, the toss on back, the stun, and the root. Stay a while and listen. On top of that, the Dragon's Arrow coming on out. We have energy being focused by the laser, and Deckard Cain having to make a run for it. They do have a Garage being dropped temporarily here as a bot, and no pause has been hit yet. So maybe he'll be back quite shortly, but they are going to leave and they're going to call it a day. They're looking actually to get My Mom is Cool, Mason Blaze on the chase. However, will get dismounted here. If he had gone around the other side, he would have probably gotten him. However, all members are rotating up from American Specialist, so they hold the keep, and Bot Garage is, well, Bot Garage still. So we're going to have to sit and take a little breather as the teams wait for Chips to make it back. A pause has happened at 11:55, so we got 10 minutes before they have to unpause, which will be 1:05 Eastern time. So taking a look at where we're at, we have Barrage almost completed that Warbreaker, still not yet. The Fingers of Frost, very big deal once it's completed. I mean, you can see you get an additional 10% bonus. On the other side, 21 stacks of the Perfect Storm almost complete to get that extra cooldown reduction, and the Pierce, which is very important as well. We got Simple Geometry completed, has been for a while. Vengeful Roots at 15, and In the Rhythm with 59 stacks. We do have Sharpened Arrowheads here. I'm not quite sure why. I think this is a mistake. Pick Sharpened Arrowheads even with the Garage. I feel like if you're going to pick Sharpened Arrowheads, you would take Redemption and then you would combine it with Sharpened Arrowheads. Otherwise, this doesn't seem like a very good fit. Never Outmatched fits in with Redemption or with the Simple Geometry. On the other side, I still think the Sharpened Arrowheads definitely doesn't fit in with the Simple Geometry, nonetheless. We had the Laser being chosen as well. It's very good at actually just helping to destroy things, but most people will pick the Odin because it allows him to siege from a very, very far distance. Now it's a trade-off. If you use Odin, you want your minigun to be utilized. Otherwise, you're not getting one of Tychus's big values, which is his minigun. So it's a trade-off, which is why a lot of people used to go the drill, because you can continue using all your abilities and you have the drill. However, the problem with the drill is you cannot move it, and because you can't move it, it often becomes a liability. However, the 20 upgrade increases the range significantly to the point where it basically zones out an entire team unless they focus it down. I also want to point out, I'm not sure if this was because he did drop, but double up was chosen instead of I believe it's defensive measures. That's actually very bad for Abusement Park, that the bot did potentially just auto pick double up for them, because double up is, although it's not bad, it's not effectively not as good as Warbreaker combined with the defensive measures, because your armor value will increase the shielding value that you have as well. And because once you complete this, you have a 2-second cooldown reduction, that means you can get even more shields much more frequently. On the other side, we also had the frost armor, the ice flows, and the summon water elemental, and the ice barrier. This is a little weird, but they do have the Artanis, so I can understand why they picked this up. However, energy is going to do significantly less damage than the traditional build. Now, when you pick up frost armor, you generally won't pick up the other Q talent, which is, I believe, the cooldown reduction from Ice Lance. And, or is it, I can't remember, it's the cooldown reduction or the Pierce. I believe it is the cooldown reduction. And then with Ice Barrier, it does give her more tank ability, but that all is, once again, a lot less damage output. I mean, when you're dropping the Qs, it makes sense to pick up the Ice Barrier, but you can also see like the damage numbers where Jaina is not pumping out nearly the same levels of damage as typically a Q build Jaina will. On the other side, we also have the Thunderburn coming on out. Give him the axe, the avatar, as we've seen. We also have Nature's Cure, the quarterback with oppressive advantage, amateur opponent, shield surge, and follow through. So if they can make it to 16, Artanis becomes a lot tankier as well. But I don't think that's actually their problem, the tankiness of Artanis. We're seeing too many deaths on Tychus, a bunch of deaths on any problem as well. And to be fair, any problem and Artanis sharing same number of deaths there. So they got 5 more minutes for him to finish reconnecting. And I'm going to double check that. They do get 10 minutes, like I said, so not to pause time must not exceed 10 minutes per match. And with that bug fixed, I can actually talk again in chat.
Welcome back, mortal.
All right, both teams are ready to go. And the action is going to kick up again. Hopefully, Chips did need to pick the double up and not the bot choosing it for him. Top camp being picked up and not going to do too much as the siege goats are relatively the weakest. It is another minute and 50 seconds, so they can't really do too much there. And bruiser camp on the other side does have 10 seconds as they picked it up quite early last go around. They do have vision though, and this is 4 members. Tracer is all alone on top. So this is a 5v4. I'm not sure I like this. They get the taunt. The blizzard is landing on Murden's, and the taunt will be burnt. But this seems like a very aggressive, overly confident play. I mean, they do get Fingers of Frost completed. They don't have Warbreaker completed quite yet. And top is now cleared. They still have the talent advantage, and they can look for the engagement. They have a minute on theirs, and the Bruiser has yet to be picked. And so they need to get on over and start dishing out some damage, because by playing defense, they've essentially allowed them to pick up the Bruisers for free. Now they have another 50 seconds before they can do anything there, and a bottom has been cleared up as well. Chips looking for it, does have the Q available. Chrissy should be able to leap on out. Chips just kind of walking face first at him. Will miss the Warbreaker, and he is going to have to pop that Indomitable and back on out. Energy does get the laser in the on the head, on the face, on the chin. So they will back on out, call it a day, and be able to re-engage a little bit later, as they have the better defensive positioning, both teams at this point, as the Immortals are now on their side, or their own Immortals are on their own side. So we have Energy clearing up the top and trying, he will actually come on back. Chips getting rather low. Stale ball and listening. On the backside, we got Mason Blaze doing what he can. We got Paletta turning around, but Artanis will be going down. We got the Tychus laser on the face of Mason Blaze. Laser versus laser fight, and this Protoss is going to lose it. But Chrissy popping that Avatar, trying to get out, does land a big stun, and will manage to get over. But Mason Blaze chasing him down, running him down like a rabid dog. And Mason Blaze still coming on in hot, looking for more. Tracer getting a big old stun. The Blizzard on top of first Andy, but the stun from the Immortal is going to dissuade him from going any further. Chips is going to get stunned, knocked away. Mason Blaze doing what he can, and on that, they are 5v4 right now. They do have Amamis. Amamis Cool is back in action. The stun, a very beautiful route in the toss on back. Tracer and Chips are both low, and Chips will go on down. So halftime show almost hit, not quite hit, and they will have to call that a day. So they are probably going to lose this Immortal at this point now. 24 seconds against a Hanzo. I mean, you can see what happens there. They are in the halftime show. This gives them a little time. They should be doing the Bruiser camp because they have no garage. They need something. However, this is now too dangerous. Chrissy sees him, and if he stays, he can just force it. You can actually see they are rotating as a unit. American Specialists going for that 5v4. A Garage is back on up. The swap will not land. We got the Water Elemental on out. Energy is perfectly safe and sound. The Root on top and Stale Ball. And listen, Paletta dropping the laser. We have the laser on Energy's head. The toss on back. Taunt is available, and there it goes. But Garage will be first to go. The laser on top of Tracer. The stun on top of the old man. And they have won another engagement, 1-0. 16s are around the corner for Abusement Park. If they lose this Immortal, which they should, they will hit 16 before it actually occurs. Additionally, they time this out in such a way to actually optimize and get the bottom camp simultaneously. This is some really, really good macro and micro. I mean, macroing to hold the Immortal kill and getting the bottom. And we got another potential pause here. And Garage is down for the count once again. All right. I didn't sit and see what the time was. And it looks like Abusement Park will unfortunately be facing a situation of playing with a bot. All right, so Garage is back in here. He's having some issues, which is probably affecting his play at this point as well. So they have 16s, they have the advantage, they have a lot. They Unstoppable has been procced already by chips, and that means, well, they're going to have to do as much as they can with that 16 advantage, which they lost. The taunt is available. Chrissy, however, is not going to be taunted. Stay out well and listen. On top of the roof, so much damage. Tracer is going to have to back on off. Mason Blaze, Chips has nowhere to go, and the toss on out for energy may not be enough as they're still chasing him. The slow on down, and without Garage, energy super far forward. What is this? Did he get swapped and I missed that? Okay, Mason Blaze, they're looking to end this. American Specialist, they have all 5 members, no Garage. They have a very little they can do here, and the core is going down very rapidly. It's down to 70%, 50%, and falling quickly. Purification Sound trying as a last effort, will only get a kill, but American Specialists have pulled away with game number 2. So taking a look at game number 2 stats, we had Mason Blaze on another planet. 73,000. Once again, 50k for Tychus and 44k, 45k for Hanzo, and only 40k for Jaina. I really don't agree with the build, like I said. I don't agree with really picking up the Frost Armor and the Ice Flows and then, Icy Veins to go with your machine gun builds, which definitely hurts the damage output. We had 67k healing and 70k toe, with first Andy dishing out several thousand more chunks of damage. On the other side for tanking, well, Murden out-tanked everyone. 68k this time. Clear Supreme Beard has taken the tank to the next level. And finally, 43k at the bottom of the chart there for the Artanis, who also happened to suffer the most deaths of said 2 tanks. Now, I think the real problem, the real story for this game, from my point of view, is that they basically made a chain of catastrophic mistakes, and extremely catastrophic mistakes, where instead of resetting their HP pools, going for round number 2 after successfully winning so many team fights, they basically overstayed, lost members, and then rinsed and repeat that over and over again. And you wind up with the situation that they had, which is a death, then another death, then another death, and then another death. And you can see it. Really, American Specialists ran away with the critical mistakes that were made by Abusement Park. 17 kills versus 7. 17 kills versus 7. Just think about that. 7 of those kills were what helped win the game. They were outkilled by over twice as many, or killed twice as many times in comparison to how many times they killed Abusement Park. They took this is how you win games. They took an opportunity, seized it in their hands, and ran with it. The decision of, oh, there's someone down, we're going to go full ham on the core. And because Paletta did take the laser, and they can't focus the laser does an insane amount of damage. Like, the laser alone is going to siege that core with Immortal and take it down basically to half life. So really the lesson here is, don't allow yourself to fall into a rut as a team and keep making critical mistakes. I think the big problem was, yeah, as someone pointed out in chat, the scoreboard doesn't look like the winner score, to be honest. Yeah, it definitely doesn't. Now, I think the biggest problem probably wound up happening to be that Garage was, dropping in the game, and I bet that heavily affected several things: landing cues, getting the right taunts and tosses, and then he wound up being a large reason his team lost. Once he went down, you can see 4 deaths, 2 deaths, and Phoenix with 1 death. We're not actually going to count this death. This death was Mason Blaze basically going full beast mode and accepting the fact that he probably has to die to try to defend the core. So this one does not count at all. So mostly it falls to previous decisions made that eventually resulted in Barash's death and then eventually the game. So I have to definitely applaud American Specialists for capitalizing on these mistakes one after the other, because that definitely is a significant level of skill required to do so. Many teams do not utilize even 2 deaths on the enemy team appropriately, much less one. So, or well, I guess most teams don't appropriately utilize 1 death on the enemy team, much less if there were two. And American Specialists utilized a single death to amazing fashion, basically running around doing what they wanted, and Chrissy playing great on the Murden there, keeping the vision, which then got them onto the Bruiser Camp fight, which then helped them snowball to end the game there. So, Abusement Park, however, showed that they are an exceptionally good team. Exceptionally good team overall. These are the kinds of mistakes that happen at all levels of play sometimes. And you go back and reflect on it and you try and make sure they don't happen again. But Abusement Park looked really good in game number 2 overall. And I think maybe if Chips didn't have the connection issues, maybe they would have still had the chance to win it. Additionally, their first game looked terrific overall. So, like I said, the numbers here don't really do justice for. Well, I guess the numbers do justice for Abusement Park, and really shows how well American Specialists can clutch out those critical mistakes against an opponent who slips up even once in a game. So congratulations to both teams for getting their own victories. And so thank you so much all for joining me. I am Akuma, or Akama, if you want to say it more correctly or more right. And you can catch me on this Twitch channel doing cast 4 days a week, basically. You can check me out on Twitter, which I don't know if I have a link down there, but you should have seen it several times in the or my with my webcam. And you can also go and check out the VODs that I do for each season of NGS. I only have 2 seasons since I've only been casting essentially full time, if you will, from season 4 and season 5, which is this season. So I definitely appreciate if you guys go and do any of that following stuff on YouTubes or the Twits. But even more so, I'd love to have you guys come back to further shoutcasts. You don't need to hit follow buttons. Of course, it makes it easier for you to come back to more shoutcasts. But I'd love to have you guys come back for additional future ones. So thanks again so much for joining me this evening, and I'll be kicking it over to the replays for this game, and you can all sit tight while I'll send you over to someone else after the replays.